Good morning. So we are going to go over reviewing how to factor and solve quadratics by only factoring, because that's all you're going to be tested on Friday. But this is a good review for you. All right. So these are 4 different hard examples. So good examples for the hardest question you might see on Friday's test. So first things first. Before solving any quadratic, they got to be equal to 0. Okay. So if I'm doing this one first, I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. I'm going to write it in standard form. Remember, that's in order from greatest to least of your exponent. 4x squared plus 20x minus 24 equals 0. Now, remember, you can make your life a lot easier if you recognize, and this is why having a good number sense is so crucial. If you recognize that every single term is divisible by the same number, simply divide it out, factor it out. So what you're essentially doing is you're dividing both sides by 4. So now your equation says x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals 0. Okay. Now we've broken this big, hard quadratic down to a very simple quadratic because my leading term has a coefficient of 1, which makes my factoring all that much easier, equals 0. I know that x and x have to go here because that multiplies to x squared. Now you got to say, what multiplies to a negative 6 that adds to a positive 5? Well, I know 6 minus 1 is 5, and 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. So I'm going to do plus 6 minus 1. So then now I can find my solutions very easily. X equals the opposite of this, because remember it's equal to 0. This is x equals negative 6, and x equals 1. Those are both solutions. Pay close attention to negative positive numbers. Pause me, write this down. Number 2. Number 2 looks a little different because it has no middle term, right? Well, let's see. I wonder if 75 is divisible by 3, and it is. 75 divided by 3 is 25. So why don't I factor out the 3 of both terms? So now this says x squared minus 25 equals 0. And if you remember correctly, I have a perfect square in the beginning, a perfect square in the end, and a perfect square in the beginning, which is 1. This also factors into something like this. 3x plus 5 and x minus 5 equals 0. So now I can see x times x, always check your work. X times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x plus a positive 5x. It cancels out your middle term, and this times this is negative 25. So your 2 answers are x equals negative 5 and x equals 5. Okay? And there's that one. Number 3, looking like this. Again, you got to make sure that you have it equal to 0, so I got to subtract x on both sides. So now this says x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. Okay? And what multiplies to negative 12 that adds to negative 1? Well, I know 6 times 2 is not going to add to negative 1. I know negative 4 and positive 3. X minus 4, x plus 3 equals 0. And it doesn't matter if you put this as the x plus 3, this is the x minus 4 first. It doesn't make a difference. My answers are still going to be the same after using FOIL, and my answers are x equals 4 and x equals negative 3. Now, moving on down. That's it for that one. Now, over here for this one, number 4. Again, are all numbers divisible by 5? Well, you should know by now that any number ending with a 0 is divisible by 5. So first things first. I got to add the 5m to both sides. So this says 5, sorry, this just said x, I'm going to put m. This should say 5x squared plus 5x minus 280 equals 0. They're all divisible by 5, so divide the 5 out of both sides, right? Because we know 0 divided by 5 is 0. Well, this is x squared plus x. 5 is in the 28 5 times, and 3 0 goes in there 6. There you go. Equals 0. What multiplies to negative 56, that adds the positive 1. Ask yourself the questions all the time. So first things first, I know this is x. I know this is x. I got a plus, I got a minus. So what times what is 56? That adds to positive 1. So I know that 8 times 7 is 56. So I'm going to have a positive 8 here and a negative 7 there. Equals 0, because I know when I do FOIL, x times x is x squared. This is negative 7x plus 8x makes 1x, and this times this is negative 56. So my two answers are x equals negative 8 and x equals positive 7. But remember, you got to look and say what makes the inside equal to 0. See you guys in class.